Bros, you gotta be careful when you pick up these part-time jobs. I got this babysitting gig for an 8-year-old, and it turns out little homie's a drug addict. For like 7 hours, he was begging me and clawing at me for his EpiPen because he quote-unquote needs it. Previously on Dino. I legitimately had something pretty traumatizing happen to me yesterday. Boy got the burn marks to prove it. No, Dad, I'm not gay. I just think Uncle Brian's pretty cute. Yes, your brother, Uncle Brian. Now on Dino. It has been an absolutely atrocious garbage year for me. First of all, I developed a hernia from lifting too many heavy weights and being too sexy, according to my doctor. Then my wife died, and I can't even get the image of her to show you because of my third situation, and that is I've developed second-degree burns. I feel like it's important to say on the onset, if you are eating or drinking, don't worry, you can still continue to do so. I'm not going to get too graphic. So here are my formerly boiled and pus-filled legs that have been scarred over. Eagle-eyed viewers might know this about me, that I live in England. And eagle-eyed and smart viewers may also know that England isn't exactly notorious for the amounts of sunshine it gets. So how the hell did this happen to me? Well, as I've said millions of times, I am from an originally hot climate. I lived there for a good chunk of my life, so to be ripped violently away from my precious vitamin D took a bit of a knock on the old depression brain. Now, typically, whenever I was feeling a little bit down and blue, I would just lift weights and go for a run. But seeing as I mentioned that I have a hernia, both of those tasks are currently impossible without me falling to the ground like a little baby and crying my eyes out. Now, there's a good chance I probably do have a chemical imbalance in my brain, and yes, I have tried pills out, but I do find that exercise and good eating helps me out way more than any pill. So the medication route didn't exactly help either in curing my brain fog of sadness. An attempt at meditation, trying to rediscover my passion for playing video games, and going outside and just touching grass in general were all attempted, but none of them seemed to brighten my mood. Then it dawned on me, I've lived in England for a very long time, and in England it's very rare that we get any ball in the sky. So I put 2 and 2 together and thought to myself, well, obviously, I just need sunshine. I contemplated this question while sat in a Witherspoons, an English chain pub for anybody who doesn't know. And while I was sticking my pinky in my drink and then sucking on it while staring at an old man across the bar, inspiration came through those front doors. Because out of nowhere, 4 women who can only be described as the same color as traffic cones appeared. Bang! If the sun wasn't going to come to me, I was going to go come on the sun. But not in the same way that these ladies have done it. If you were to ask me, and I'm not saying that you are, fake tan always makes a hoe look dirty and cheap, and you can always smell the orange residue of Cheeto dust all around your skin even days after it happened, no matter how much you try and mask it with Adidas perfume. So my only other option was doing a tanning bed, and it just so happened that last week was my haircut week, and it also just so happened that my barber happened to have a tanning bed in the back of his shop. Now, in spite of appearances, they are a little bit deceiving. I am not a full-blown idiot. Medically moronic, yes, I could agree to, but I do have a little bit of sense on my head. So before undertaking this task of visiting my barber and just kind of winging it, I sought the advice of the people in my life who I trust most, and when none of them were available, I went to the women in my life. Now, it's not sexist to say, is what someone says before they say something sexist, but I'm pretty confident that almost every woman in the world has been on a tanning bed at least once in their life. So I felt like I was in pretty good conscious hands consulting them. And I was, because they gave me very safe and sound advice. And I'll tell you verbatim what they all said to me. 3 different people, mind you. Dino, this is your first time on a tanning bed, and as such, on your first time in a tanning bed, please do not go longer than 4 minutes. And Dino, we gotta keep this very clear, if you go longer than those 4 minutes, you're not allowing your skin to properly build up a tolerance to the machine. You're meant to go 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, especially for newcomers, so your skin can build up the tan. Now keep that in mind when you feel sympathetic for me later on in the story. I had been warned. So I was happy with their advice, I gave them a thumbs up, and off I went on my way. And I just so happened to take my dead wife's twin sister, because she was going to the shops anyway. Everything's fine, everything's normal, I get my haircut done, the twin sister goes into the tanning bed before me, and she says I'm gonna do about 12 minutes. Now keep in mind, my wife who is dead and her twin sister both have very, very olive skin. And it's very clear to see, in spite of living in a hot climate my entire life, the pasty Englishness never left. Genetically, I'm a milk dud. And that milk dud felt like he knew better than everybody else. It was my turn to go into the tanning bed. And did I pick the safe option? Did I fuck? Because in my brain, I thought they were all being silly. And in my brain, I decided to go for 12 whole minutes. Again, to remind you, I was advised to only do 4. There's a big difference between those 2 numbers, as you'll come to find out, and I found out. Felt a little bit toasty in the tanning bed. I thought that was just part of the process. Get off, take a walk home with the dead wife's twin sister. Feeling on absolute cloud 9, mind you. The emergency shot of sun did me so much good mentally. I was pretty much swinging my arm from side to side and whistling like a cartoon character. And I went to bed that night with a huge smile on my face. But like all of God's greatest punishments, he delayed it a single day. And the next morning, I'm sure he was having a really good chuckle in the irony of me waking up red-faced and literally screaming in pain instantly. I was frozen to my bed because every orifice of my skin felt on fire. The only way I could get up and get to the bathroom was to duck walk, or rather more penguin march. If that wasn't bad enough, I was incapable of taking a shower because water touching my skin felt like acid. I couldn't sit down on my bum because every time I did, it felt like a needle was going up it. Nor could I lay down on my back and lift up my bum in hopes of relief because it felt like ants were crawling down there. The only relief I could get was by laying perfectly still on my stomach and not moving. This was fine, I thought. So I got a little bit extra burn. And yes, this is probably some of the most excruciating pain I've ever experienced, but surely it will pass in a few days. I mean, I've only got work in the next 3 days. I'll just rest it out. If only I knew the hell that was coming my way. The next morning, I woke up to even worse pain. And I mean my skin was blister red, prompting me to start taking extreme measures instead of just taking painkillers. Because at this point, I hadn't used any after sun, because as I said, anything touching my skin was the devil. The pharmacist was too far away for me to get any after sun, however, so I had to rely on more Eastern European methods. Gobbledygook, old wives' tales. And one of such old wives' tales was to cover oneself in honey. With the enlistment of my friend, I stripped down to literally nothing, just my red booty cheeks like a baboon, and got them to apply honey up and down my back. While I bit down on a cloth because the pain was so excruciating, I nearly passed out. Something I forgot to mention as well, the entire time that my skin's on fire like this, I'm experiencing extreme dizziness, I have no appetite, and even when I do, it goes straight in one hole and shit straight out, which leads to another problem of my red booty baboon cheeks needing a wiping. The problem is when your skin feels like it's killing you, doing a proper wipe isn't either realistic or entirely possible. So I'm not going to confirm nor deny there were skid marks, but I'm also not going to confirm nor deny that my booty hole were itchy. I had a lovely combination of not bathing since the sunbed, my natural man musk building up, and now sweet honey covering my body. And all of these odors, I couldn't even mask with my own clothing, because for the entire time that I was in that much pain, I had to walk around bollock naked. You may be thinking to yourself at this point, well, surely he's been punished enough. There's no way God is going to slap any more torment on top of him. Funny thing is, I had to go back to work. Now, this was my conscious choice because the old bank account isn't exactly looking hot at the minute. It is what it is. It's ups and downs in life. And I had a string of off days over the past couple months, way more than I'd like to have. Financially, I mean, obviously, I don't give a cuck about a company. So I didn't exactly have a choice. And the following day, in spite of being in as much pain as I was, I managed to hobble my little gorilla bum into the shower, wash off all of that disgusting residue that may as well be plague bile by now, and jump into my work pants and work clothes. And I gotta say, I was fine for the entire shift. Yeah, it was a little bit uncomfortable. Yeah, it was stinging a little bit, but I could cope. The issue is when you're on your feet for 10 to 12 hours a day, and you've got second-degree burns, the friction of your jeans rubbing up against the back of your legs causes blisters. The entirety, and you're lucky I don't have a photo of it because I would have shown you, of the back of both of my legs, from knee nearly all the way up to my booty, was covered in full blisters that I had to then get in the shower and use both of my hands under hot water to scrape off manually. My whole body was shaking and quaking. It's honestly a miracle that I didn't just fall down. And then, once I was done with that excruciating ordeal, I had to apply some cream to the infected area so I wouldn't get any sepsis of the legs and die, which was just as bad as the shower, might I add. The only thing that was keeping me positive and motivated was the fact that you have to legally subscribe since you've already watched the video. On a related note, however, I want to say a big thank you to all of you guys for helping me reach 500, and not in like a cheesy YouTuber way where I'm like, oh my gosh guys, thank you. I do genuinely mean it from the bottom of my heart. You're getting me one step closer to scamming children out of their hard-earned money from their parents. And even though there is a lot of you who have now come in, I want to say a very big special thank you to my day one homies, Ozzy FPV, D Hoffman, and Stella Marvel. These three in particular have been around since the early days of my channel and have consistently commented on most of my videos. I'm also pretty sure that they are the main driving force behind the people who are liking these videos, aside from myself doing it on alt accounts. So to those three in particular, I really recognize what you have done for me, and I want you to recognize that you've changed my life in a lot of ways that you don't even realize. As I've always said, and I will always continue to say, even if I never make a cent off doing this, I do it for the pure love of it. So the fact that I have three people who are so loyal and loving as you guys means the world to me. That's the end of it. It goes without saying, now that I am semi-fully recovered, I will be coming back with a driving force. So I will definitely see you guys again soon. Thank you all for watching. Bye bye.